hiphopandwrestling.com. How you doing? My name is VSOP, and I'm with my mans and them. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Gold.
Stephen Gold, what's good, beautiful people?
Stephen Gold in the house. We have a lot of things to talk about today. We got to talk about Money in the Bank, and of course, we got to talk about Monday Night Raw because some big things happened there.
Yes, sir.
But the first thing we're going to start with is the return of R-Truth. Now, as happy as I am to see him back, I must admit, selfishly, I was a little perturbed because I uploaded our R-Truth video on Friday, and this motherfucker was back on Saturday. Because we recorded this shit on Tuesday. I was like, yeah, I'm going to drop this R-Truth one on Saturday. After we started seeing that, the fans were, not necessarily taking over the shows, but they were voicing their displeasure with the fact that he was gone. So I said, you know what, I'm going to drop it on Friday before the pay-per-view. And then this motherfucker comes back. So, of course, somebody in the comments was like, oh, yeah, this got old quick. And I was like, yeah.
Hey, man.
Bad timing.
Look, man, we in the control of the universe, man. We just speak, we speak our opinions, and whatever happens, bro.
Yeah.
At least that this is, we put it out there, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it had one day to shine at least, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
I was just happy to get some interaction, you know what I mean? And it got a decent amount of views, so I was really happy with that. But more happy that R-Truth was, that he's back, that he returned, and almost in the perfect way, interrupting the main event at Money in the Bank. So I'm with it. Shout out to R-Truth. He gets the break room applause. So in terms of him coming back, from what I understand, at least what I heard on the internet, that deal was pretty much renegotiated the same week, 48 to 72 hours before the show. Now I'm thinking, granted, again, contract disputes, whatever, business is business. But what other outcome were they expecting from the main event? Because I feel like him running in, hitting Cena with the belt, Cody hitting the crossroads and getting the pin, which you predicted, was perfect. And that's what they should have planned to do anyway. That should have been the plan to begin with. That was the perfect finish to that particular match, and it made sense to me. But I wonder what they originally, thought they were going to do in that match. I don't know.
Yeah, that was interesting too. That was very interesting, man. Like, I was definitely surprised. I like surprises. Like, we go back and forth about them, like, being unpredictable, and we like that, having good problems, and we like that. But R-Truth showing up as fast as he did, like, that was super cool, man. So bravo to that writing team to, changing the story, you know what I'm saying, and like having him come back so quick. But that just lets you know what kind of like support he had.
Oh yeah,
including us. We love him too, man. But that just lets you know voices is being heard.
Do you think if this would have happened before the social media era, and keep in mind, you think that you think, right? Because now the voices, the voices they come right at you right away. The opinions come at you right away, right?
Everything is hits. Everything is hits. Everything is hashtags. Everything is like instant. So like, post these videos and stuff happens, people react to it and they get like 1 million like reactions or whatever kind of like amount of reactions they get them in abundance, and it's just instantaneously or whatever. So they're watching that and they're paying close attention to that, and they know like whatever the crowd is favorite to, like whatever they like, and all right, we need to go this direction. You know what I'm saying? They're playing off of it though. They're playing off of it to like for good, and they're also playing off of it to like, I don't want to say bad, if that's the best way to say it, but they don't want it to be predictable, whatever. So I think that they just caught us off guard because they made it happen so fast, and that team knew that if they made it happen fast, then it was going to catch us off guard.
Right.
You know, because like I was planning, like, because we talked about this, I was thinking he was going to come back sometime soon, but not that damn soon. So, like I said, man, kudos to them for making that happen right then, bro.
And they were chanting "We want truth" during the main event match. Which made the fans even happier when he showed up. Even me, I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Yes, this is fantastic."
Yes.
Still makes you wonder, though. Was it like why did
predetermined before even like anybody even said anything? Yeah.
Like,
makes you we'll never know.
There's speculation on whether that was a work or not, and Triple H at the post media scrum didn't admit to it. He was just like, "Hey, are you happy R-Truth's back? How'd you enjoy the show?" Right. It's part of the show.
Exactly.
And had the fans showed similar outrage to Carlito, said we want Carlito on TV program, would it have been the same outcome? That I don't know.
Yeah, but like I said, man, like I'm a Carlito fan, but I don't think he had that same reach as R-Truth, bro.
Yeah.
Like, if you had to pick one out the two, of course the majority are gonna say R-Truth. Oh. Like I said, I had a special place for Carlito. I like Carlito.
Oh yeah.
I think he's super dope. I think he has charisma. I just think they just couldn't figure out a story for him. And, that just happens sometimes, bro. But, it ain't never too late. Something might shake. It could circle back around when you least expect it.
Yeah, they could always renegotiate something. I think he's going to go I think he's definitely going to go in the Hall of Fame in the future.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, happy to see R-Truth back. I'm just thinking they could have did some more to get some more things. Like if they knew for sure that he was going to announce his departure, and they had to know there was going to be some outrage. They had to know this. And they could have dug deeper into it, especially in the Cena character, and had Cena say, "Hey, I'm the one who got R-Truth fired." And if you notice on SmackDown, when they were chanting "We want truth," and then John Cena caught that and said, "You can't handle the truth," and then all of a sudden he got crazy boos. I was like, all right, like play on that shit to get some more heat. But at the end of the day, shoulda, coulda, woulda, doesn't matter. He's back, and not only is he back, he wants to be taken seriously and take on, his newborn identity, which we'll talk about shortly once we get to Raw. But definitely.
Look, I was holding myself back. I was like, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, we gotta get to it when we get to it. So, what did you think about the Money Bank in the show? Money Bank in the show. What the fuck?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. What you gonna do?
What did you think about the Money in the Bank show overall? You told me that you said it was an 8 out of 10. Tell me why it's an 8 out of 10.
I said 8 out of 10, man. Both Money in the Bank matches were super cool. I really think the Becky and Lyra match was better than the first one. I think this one was more put together. They had better chemistry. Me being petty. I think Becky could have had a better outfit. I'm just kind of like, Becky, come on, dog. Like, get your ass out of here, Jake. You want a PLE? You want a PLE? Come on, man. Like, your hubby is Seth Rollins. You can come decked out every time for the PLEs. But I don't know if there was like just a wardrobe. Like maybe her stuff didn't get there in time or get done in time. But the match was spectacular, man.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Definitely didn't see her winning. I definitely thought I'd pick Lyra, but they both showed up and showed out, man. And it's just the making of a beautiful feud. I don't think it's over.
Right.
But overall, the tag team match, it was cool. Like I said, that the fuel behind that, was R-Truth return. But but both Money in the Bank matches was awesome, man. I think that carried the show.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go wrong with the actual ladder matches. I mean, the whole show is built it's built around the ladder matches. So I haven't really seen a bad Money in the Bank. I can't think of one. Not even when it wasn't, even when it didn't have its own dedicated show, I really can't think of a bad Money in the Bank match. But overall, yeah, I'll give it a 8 out of 10. Yeah, I'll give it an 8 out. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because the two tag matches the two Money in the Bank ladder matches were strong enough. Like kind of like the Rumble. We really based how we like the Rumble on the two Rumble matches, right? Because there's stakes, right? Both and Money in the Bank is no different. It ties to a title shot. It's just it's one of those surprise things. Like we don't know when they're going to cash it, who, what, when, where, why, and how. So now they walk around with that briefcase as long as they can. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes people cash it in the same day. But clearly what I predicted about a cash-in didn't happen. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But let me go ahead and bring up the first slide for the men and women's matches. I got those put together. So I did predict that Seth Rollins was going to win.
Congratulations, brother. You did.
Break room applause for that. And I did predict he was going to win by shenanigans, which he did. Yeah. But everyone else showed out. It was a great match. Penta showed out. Like those few moments when they thought Penta was about to get that briefcase, like the fans were going crazy. Like, oh shit, there's no one else around. But he's like too fatigued on that ladder to reach up. You know how they gingerly reach up for the briefcase until someone comes and gets him. But there was a few times where I thought he was actually going to do it, and then there was a few times where I thought LA Knight was going to actually do it. So they did a good job with those teases. Andrade, he did that sunset flip powerbomb off the ladder. That looked sick. I thought he was going to totally hurt himself doing so. But luckily...
Shout out to Andrade, man. Andrade's a beast, bro.
I think I told you that there was going to be a Mexican destroyer on a bridge ladder. And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah,
so
what happened? Yes, sir.
Another break room applause for that one. Solo didn't do much climbing-wise, or he didn't do many aerial things. But he played a good role being the muscle and doing this little Robert De Niro laugh. You know, the little laugh and the little face he makes. He was just being You don't like this new Solo? You're not entertained by it?
I did. Listen. I was a fan of Solo this Money in the Bank match. Okay. I said, that's cool. Him like making fun of Penta, like walking.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
That and well, we ain't gonna get to the, but I was a fan of this Solo. Thank you, Solo.
Yes. Chad Gable, this guy's like a damn MVP right now.
Bro, I can't say nothing negative about him, man. This hats off.
Chad Gable.
Hats off, Chad Gable, man. Chad Gable is fucking working and looking good doing it, bro.
Yeah, bro. And he came back to wrestle on Raw the next night and still performed at a high level. That's crazy. 3 matches in 48 hours. So so the men's match was really dope. Seth won, so now we got a however long storyline already built in. He kind of teased with Cena and Punk on Raw. We'll get into that shortly. But I think storyline-wise, with what's going on in terms of like building this faction, that was just the obvious choice. It was just the obvious choice. It made sense to me. Now I was at Nick's crib watching it, and he was kind of like you, saying, "Hey, why don't they mix it up? Have LA Knight win it, or Andrade win it, or Penta win it. Like, it's going to get received well. I just don't think they have an idea of what they want to do long term with those acts. I don't think they have a plan for Andrade.
It's the safest story. Safest story, the safest story, one that they could build off of, and you got, you know, multiple people within that story. So it can go multiple ways, which that is super cool. Which I personally think the same thing could have happened with Solo too, though. Just saying.
All right.
You know, you got multiple people involved. You know, Roman could have got back involved. You know what I'm saying? If he were to like cash in, you know, the Money in the Bank and get the title, you know, Roman be like, you know, you don't deserve that. You know, it's just, but good problems. I think it was a bad thing. Seth winning is a beautiful thing, man. I'm just excited to see like what happens because it's just. Go ahead.
Sorry. Turkey burgers. So, well, when you look at the male contestants or the male competitors, this ain't a goddamn beauty pageant.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
I'm
What you
tripping.
gonna do?
When you look at the athletes in this match, like when you look at them, I could see them all teasing cashing in the briefcase, all except Andrade. I think he's the only one that I couldn't really see holding that briefcase for long term. And it's only because...
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Oh, shit.
What you gonna do?
Didn't mean to do that. It's only because he's not a good talker. That's the only reason. Wrestling-wise, that dude is elite. Top-notch, 5-star. But...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but talking, he wouldn't be able to make it intriguing or even seem like the type of threat to... He can't talk in a threatening way. He does everything in the ring. That's how he talks, right? He can fly. He can get technical. He's crisp. He's quick. Like, Andrade's an amazing athlete, but he really needs, like, he would benefit so much from, like, a Paul Heyman type, a manager who could speak for him. But LA Knight, he can talk people in the building, so he would have been good walking around threatening people every week with that briefcase in his hand, you know, yelling, yeah, as soon as he finishes talking, whatever. I think Solo could have been just slimy, walking around slimy with JC Mateo.
Yep.
Never know when he's going to pop up, when his music's going to hit or whatever. And of course, Chad Gable, El Grande Americano, walking around with
Chad Gable.
Oh yeah, Chad Gable, you know. Walking around with that briefcase would have been entertaining too. But as I mentioned, Seth was the right call. But Jacob Fatu finally pulled the trigger and turned on Solo. Finally, he got enough of that shit and just said, you know what? I hate you, Solo. And super kicked him, hit him with the moonsault, hit him with the toss-up Samoan drop. Like, he got the whole...
Hit Bronson Reed with a toss-up Samoan drop. I was like, woo!
That part, yeah, he hit Bronson Reed with it, excuse me. Like, they got the whole enchilada right there. And the crowd loved it, so I loved it. So I can't wait to see what happens on SmackDown. And why not do it in that match with all that chaos going around? So it worked. Yeah. And just Solo's face as he was getting ready to climb that ladder and assumed that he was going to get this easy victory. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What you do?
So, yeah, that was dope. So, for the women's match, we both predicted Naomi. So she gets the break room applause. So she did a thing in the match. I think it made sense for her to be walking around with the briefcase. So another reason why I'm excited about watching SmackDown this week is to see whose face she going to get in. Is she going to pop up on Raw someday and try to, you know, mix it up with Io? Or is she going to set her sights on Tiffany Stratton? Or is she going to wait until like Jade or Bianca get their hands on it? I think cashing it out on them will have more heat, but what do you think?
Cash it out on Bianca.
So Bianca's going to come back, beat Stratton, and then...
I think it would make the most sense. Get it from your so-called friend that you thought betrayed you. You know, that story just hits a little different, man. You know, it hits home because everybody has probably had that feeling where you thought that you was on somebody's side and you looked out for them and you like held them down until they got to where they needed to go and they abandoned you for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that would just be a very fulfilling story, you know, to get your lick back, because everybody wanted to get their lick back when they felt like they was betrayed.
Yeah, I mean, she has technically, the situation that she's in right now is her fault.
It is, but just I'm talking about like the energy of it, whatever. You in your mind, you feel like you was did wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean every bad every bad guy got an origin story, right? And she felt as if Jade was like kind of was dimming her light or whatever. So I get it. Mm-hmm. I think all the women showed out. Your girl Stephanie did your favorite move on the ladder. I'm sure you enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I sure did.
I see it in your eyes. See it in your eyes.
Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry.
Yeah, everybody held their own. They tried to take Rhea out early, which made sense. But
yeah,
I really enjoyed the match. My girl Roxanne Perez, she showed out as always. She's just excellent. Yeah. Julie, this is probably one of my favorite women's Money in the benches. Jesus Christ.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. What you gonna do?
I was saying.
I knew what you were saying, bro.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Money in the Banks in a very, very long time in terms of the women's match. I have to think back on the men's matches to see if this is one of my favorites, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think they show up and show out and best the previous year every single year. You know what I mean? Yeah,
they do.
So,
because I think they listen to the feedback too, and that's the big change that's been going on in like wrestling, man. You have all these podcasts and these shows who gives their feedbacks and their feedback and their critique on like certain shows, PLEs, whether it be like a weekly show or that, and I think they listen to it and they incorporate it.
Right. I agree with you. I think this the women's Money in the Bank. It didn't seem, although we predicted Naomi, it didn't seem like the obvious pick, and we thought we thought Rhea would be like the safe pick. But things didn't seem obvious to me. But yeah,
they definitely kept throwing it around like, oh, this might happen. Oh, this might happen. Oh, this might happen. I'm just like, shit.
Yeah.
Because you know me, I went Naomi. I said I wanted her to win, and I think she's gonna win. And the way it was going or whatever, like I was like, oh shit, Rhea might win this shit. Like, oh shit, could Stephanie Valkyria win this shit? And so they did a good job, man. Like these writers are really on their job, man.
Yeah, and Stephanie, she's crazy over right now. Like
she is
immediately, like Braun Breaker level impact, like out the gate right away.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we enjoyed the Money in the Bank match. So let's go on to the next one. You had brought up, you said you was feeling the Becky versus Lyra match, and I agree with you. I think this was better.
The match.
Yeah, it was
like a match.
It was a great match. It was better than the Backlash. It wasn't Backlash, was it?
It was WrestleMania, wasn't it? No, WrestleMania was.
That's when it teamed up.
I think it was Backlash.
These pay-per-views they're so close to each other. They're just starting to right.
Back to back, yeah.
So their match at Backlash was great. Mm-hmm. This particular match was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was better. Which that says a lot. These two work amazing together, and I thought they would still be feuding, but it looks like Bayley's back in the mix. So, I've been waiting to see when she was going to come back. She didn't come back at Backlash.
Me too.
She didn't come back at Money in the Bank, but she came back at Raw. So here we are. So I don't know. Is it going to turn into like a 3-way thing, or is Becky going to focus on Bayley first? Like, I don't know what the plan is, but I'm okay with it right now, but it seems like the IC division for the women right now is just those three: Becky, Bayley, and Lyra.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Not much more to say about this match itself, but shout out to Becky Lynch. If she wins the women's U.S. title, she'll be the first ever women's Grand Slam champion. She would have had every single women's title available.
Yeah.
So
that'd be cool. I mean, I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. We're in the era now, man. It's kind of like, well, damn, we'll get to that later. But, you know, it just seems like it don't really, it's just about more of them being over, you know what I'm saying, and having the crowd like support rather than like having a title. You know, because you got a lot of superstars who don't have a title and they're just still popular.
Oh, right.
It don't matter if they lose or not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, CM Punk is a big example of that. He doesn't need gold at all.
No, he's a shit, man. He's a shit. I love seeing him, man.
Right. And we talked about this. The gold doesn't make the star. The star makes the title. CM
Yes, sir.
Right?
Exactly.
Like LA Knight with the U.S. title was a lot more exciting than Nakamura with the U.S. title. Although Nakamura is dope, LA Knight made that belt seem more important.
It look cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Made that title look cool.
So yeah, shout out to Becky Lynch, the second ever women's IC championship. I hope she has some good defenses with it. I really like heel Becky at this moment, although she's wearing those jumpsuits but she's doing that to get heat. What she's wearing is to get heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, do you remember when JBL was the champion? When he beat Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah. Vaguely.
Well, that's when Bradshaw turned to JBL, right? The Texas,
the investor,
the tycoon, yeah. And he had said that he wore that towel around his neck, tucked into his ring jacket, just to get heat, just to look like a douchebag.
That was smart, though. I definitely remember it, man. But I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think that he was doing that to be an asshole. But that's funny.
Yeah, just little subtle things, right? So, you know, Becky ain't wearing her flashy garments no more. She just comes out in a damn Adidas jumpsuit with some really baggy joggers. And
I was like, what is that? I'm like, come on, Becky. Like, you used to come out in some dope attire. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. Maybe she did it on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Most likely.
But you know, I've been that way, bro. I'm all about like some dope outfits, you know, to come out in the ring with, man. The shoes and shit, man. You know, I've always been about that life. Like, you know, that goes back to like Macho Man. You know, Ultimate Warrior always had like something crazy coming out, you know, when he was in like a PLE or something like that. Who else? Shawn Michaels was like that. You know, Razor Ramon was like that. Like it goes with the whole persona, man. Like you a big personality wrestler, man. Like you definitely want to have on the attire to match that personality. You know, Rey Mysterio is probably like one of the fucking best dressed wrestling attires of all time, bro. Like Rey Mysterio shit is just always on fleek when he comes to wrestle, bro.
Yeah, because he never wears he doesn't wear anything twice. He's always changing it up. Man. Whereas like Randy Orton wears the same tights, just a different color of pattern on the back. With the exception of WrestleMania, I guess, when he had on the St. Louis color tights or whatever. But so, I guess I never asked you that. So you pay attention to the fashion aspect. So what do you think? What do you think about Seth Rollins? Not only his ring attire, but what he wears outside the ring.
It's a hit or miss.
It's a hit or miss.
Like yeah. Some of the shit I'm like, yo.
Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'm like, all right, I see you, bro. Mm-hmm. That's fire. Like I like the money green suit he wore on Raw. I'm like, you know, he the Money in the Bank champion. He got a money green suit on. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, the last few weeks, what he's been wearing since he turned heel nothing's been like ridiculously outlandish, right? It's just been like,
yeah,
I'm still wearing a designer suit, some designer shades. I got the Seth Rollins chain, that big ass chain around his neck, right?
Yeah. Then I like how Money in the Bank, he had on like the copper wrestling attire, and then he had on the copper penny foams. I was like, all right, bro, I see you. That's fire. That's fucking fire. Yeah. You should definitely get the break room applause too for that.
You got it. You got it. Yeah.
He gave a little, nod to the sneakerheads, man. He knew what he was doing with that.
Mm-hmm. I still don't know how Jey Uso wrestles in those damn Air Force Ones. Yeah, like
he just.
I would think your ankle jumping around in those, running and jumping, diving. I would assume your ankles would be like fucked up.
I don't know. I think him and his brother just don't practice enough in them, man. So they don't got used to how to like move in them. Because sometimes they wear mids, but that was like back in the day. But yeah, now they wear all lows, man.
So did you have any opinion on the Dominik Mysterio Octagon match? It was thrown together at Worlds Collide, and the match itself was 3 to 4 minutes long. Like nothing special, but
I just think that was a shout out to Octagon. At the same time, to kind of like showcase, to keep Dom active and keep his name in both like AAA and WWE, like buzzing. You know what I'm saying? Because they just got a partnership together. So I mean, yeah, that was a business thing, but at the same time, he, showing love to the luchador, family and tradition, and at the same time, like holding it down for WWE.
Yeah, and definitely probably, as you mentioned, luchador tradition. His father, Dom's father, like AAA legend. So it kind of made sense, but it was like a quick match. They could have just did it on Worlds Collide, but
yeah, exactly.
But I guess, it was a 4-match show, so this made it 5. And probably something to kind of like break things up, like to bring the crowd down a little bit before we bring them back up. So,
intermission match.
Yeah. I would have got up to go, after I saw Dom's entrance, I probably would have got up and went to go get more beer or something like that. But by the time I would have got said beer and got back to my seat, I would have heard the bell ring. The match would have been over because it was that damn quick.
Yeah, it was very quick. Yeah.
So on Raw they did a whole video package for the iguana guy.
He's buzzing, bro. Like going back to what we said, man. Like these reactions and clicks, whatever's popping, they're gonna pay attention to.
All right. I still have not watched that match yet. I only seen a few matches from Worlds Collide, but. As soon as you told me about the iguana dude, I was like, all right, I need to go check him out. And then I saw that video package when I was watching Raw. I was like, all right, he must have made a serious impression because I thought the guy Psycho Clown, I thought he had a dope ass mask and whatnot, and they would have shown some more of him. But so the match I did see that I wanted to see was the Ethan Page, Javon
Evans.
Javon Evans. Laredo Kid, and who was the third person? Ray Phoenix. I saw that match and thought it was excellent. Did you watch that match?
No, I missed it.
So you missed that.
Go back and watch it.
So you missed that one, and I missed the Iguana Man. So we both got a
Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry.
We both get one of those then. All right, so let's get to the main event. The match itself. Outside of the R-Truth surprise, what did you think of this match?
It was cool. It did what it was supposed to do. I wasn't really excited about it, to be honest. I know it's kind of more like a storyline builder match that was just gonna like set the tone for like how the story was gonna go, like ahead, like John Cena's tour, Cody coming back, Jey Uso being world champion, Logan Paul possibly being a future world champion. It's like, all right, who's gonna get pinned and who's gonna like like foreshadow of what's gonna happen next or whatever. So I mean, it was all right. Like I said, I think R-Truth was just the one that kind of like put the juice in that match.
So
His return.
I had to watch the match again today, so I watched it twice. And my sentiment the both times that I watched it was, it started off slow, and they spent a lot of time getting the heat on Jey Uso for a very long time to build up to the hot Cody tag, back when right when John Cena and Logan Paul started bickering, and Uso was finally able to get the tag to Cody. That's when the match became great to me. Everything picked up. Cody went crazy, started doing dives. Everyone's jumping around. John Cena's hitting the AA on multiple people. Logan's grabbing the damn drone and getting
trying to do moves like while holding the drone.
Right, gets superplexed and then gets splashed by Jey Uso at the same time. That was dope. Logan Paul hits the ICA moonsault on the table. That was pretty dope. Fire. Jey Uso hitting the spear on the table. I mean, the match got crazy lit after that tag. And I think had the build up to that it's been a little bit quicker, but it was kind of old school in terms of like building the heat. And the reason why I watched it the second time was because of what happened on Raw, because they mentioned how, and Gunther had kind of, foresaw this, like, hey, dude, you're doing all this shit. You're taking all this punishment before you have your match with me. And in that match, he took a lot of punishment. He was selling the ribs. He was, they were punching him in the gut. Like they were doing a slow but effective beatdown on Jey Uso. And it played into the next night, which made the story of the next night make a lot more sense, especially going to that table. Jey Uso looked like he was dead after that match was over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought it was like two levels of storytelling in that one match. And then of course Cody, then R-Truth comes back, so that's something new. Cody gets the pin on John Cena, but no talks on whether he's going to get a title shot because of it or not, because the focus has shifted elsewhere. But he got that pin, so it's going to mean something later. Of course, Logan Paul bickering with John Cena. Who knows that? Who's to say that John Cena doesn't still give an AA to Logan Paul out of nowhere at some point? He got 18 more dates to do it, so 19 more to do it. So, and Logan Paul just popping off at John Cena. You don't do that at the Can't See 17. Is it Can't See 17 or Never Seen 17? Which one is it?
Never Seen 17.
Never Seen 17. I actually like that. I like that.
That shit is fire. Yeah, it's fire.
I like that.
I cannot hate it all.
I like that a lot. So half of the match, the first half of the match was slow, but the second half of the match was great. So I think WWE just has to I don't know. I don't want to say work on their pacing, but I understand what you're working with. Like Logan Paul is kind of an exciting performer. He wants to fly around, jump, and do a lot of things, right? Cody Rhodes can pretty much do everything. And then Uso, he can pretty much do everything. John Cena, he's more of the muscle guy. And typically in matches, he's the one selling. He's the one getting beat down and making the comeback. Now he's the one getting the heat. So slow plodding, kind of like Roman Reigns does, really slow plodding, a punch here, look at the crowd, But I think John Cena did a good part. I heard some people say John Cena didn't look good in this match. I thought he looked fine. If anything, he has some really ugly stomps though. He should never. I thought it was impossible for somebody to have a worse stomp than The Rock. John Cena.
Talking about the little wind up,
the little wind up kick.
Shit the leg and then
the stanky leg kick. But but John Cena's stomps look horrible. But I think it's because he's never had to stomp nobody out. He
was always a nice guy, man. He won't like no Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He won't like no Bret the Hitman Hart. I think Brett had a pretty ass, like not a pretty ass, but like a great looking stomp. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, you know, he put his hands on the rope and just kind of like drill into it when he hits you with it.
Yeah. Liv Morgan was stomping the hell out of someone last night in that Fatal 4-Way. I can't remember. Oh, I think she was stomping the shit out of Rhea Ripley. If you go back and watch that match, it looked great. But Dominik Mysterio had some good stomps. Of course, Stone Cold.
Oh yeah, the mud hole stomp, yeah.
Ric Flair, like we could do a whole conversation about stomps. Like stomps and punches are very, very important.
Yeah, you got to sell them, man.
Got to sell them. And I think it's a lot easier to like sell a punch or deliver a stomp when you have like a lot of hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold didn't have any hair, but he was shaking his head and stuff while he was stomping and whatnot. But like,
you
know, Dominik starts stomping, his little mane is going up and down and whatnot. But I digress.
And you know, some of them, man, like sometimes them punches don't get pulled as much as they should be. That's why they be having black eyes.
Yeah. Well, who do you think, off the top, who do you think has the best punch in wrestling?
Current or just all time?
You can go all time if you want to.
I think Brett, man. Brett had like nice punches, bro. Between Brett and probably Stone Cold.
Stone Cold.
Yeah, Stone Cold. Like once he gets what they call when you like getting your build up back and it's time to turn around, like to turn the tides.
Oh, the comeback?
Yeah, the comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, the Stone Cold. And somebody even wrestlers said it was like, yo, he was starting to believe it too much. Like
Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry.
They said they would have to tell her, like, yo, Steve.
Right. You're laying it in too hard, right? Yeah. You know what? So my favorite puncher it's probably gonna sound a little crazy. You will have to go back and watch. Jerry Lawler.
Okay.
But you have to go back and watch. And you don't have to go back and watch old Memphis. You can watch Jerry Lawler in WWE. But Jerry Lawler has a really, really good punch. So he would probably be one of my favorites. And Sting.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, Sting too. Sting had good punches, man. He sold them really good. Yeah.
Yeah, Sting. But that was fun. So yeah, this match was good. It got good at the end. It got really live when R-Truth came. I love all the near falls at the end. Logan Paul is crazy doing that damn IC moonsault onto the table because that table was not that close. So for him to do it as perfect as he did, and his character, his aura, like undeniably a main event guy, bro.
Yeah.
A main event guy.
You remember Taker gave him that advice too, man. So I mean, hopefully he's still listening to it. Taker was like, yo, like, don't give too much where you can't, you know, don't set a I'm not thinking of how to say it right, but just don't set like the entertainment at a level to where you can't continue to like keep elevating from that. You know, just like when he did that bounce acai moonsault. Like Taker was like, yo, you don't want to keep having to like top things like that, you know?
I do think that's something you should probably like.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You
got to put in the reserve. Like kind of like when Dominik did that suicide dive into the DDT. That was like, he's been capable of doing that, but he brought it out then. It was like it was the appropriate time to do it, right? But yeah, Logan Paul, man, and that dude is still in his 20s.
Yeah, killing it.
Yeah, he's in there. He's hanging in there with vets. So shout out to
he's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it's undeniable, bro. All right, so that was Money in the Bank. But, what did you think about the Fireball ladder?
Too much.
Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry.
It's like, man, like you already have the promotion in the ring. You know, like why do you need a ladder? A ladder just for promotion. It was a lot.
Hell no, motherfucker.
But on a good note, what if they added to the game? That should be cool as hell, right?
Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry.
The fireball ladder. See if someone's listening, they might actually. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if they start putting those damn advertisements in the video game.
That would be crazy.
That would be insane.
That would be.
And speaking of which, why isn't their own? They got Elden Ring in the middle. So they got Elden Ring in the middle, which is a very popular game. Hard as hell, but very popular.
Yeah.
Where's the 2K25 promotion?
I know. They just do it in between like their entrances. After that, nothing else.
Fucking ridiculous.
Agreed.
So the fireball ladder annoyed me.
It did.
It annoyed me a lot. It really annoyed me. I can't even front.
Yeah, it did.
I ain't having that.
Like, really, dude?
Yeah, it was whack.
And they had to win on the fireball ladder?
Of course they did, because Fireball signed that check. They said, all right, we'll endorse you. We'll give you this X amount. But your superstar got to win the match with our ladder.
And then the when they do the replay, it's brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, which I'm actually fine with that on the replay.
Yeah.
It's just the ladder's a little too much.
That and going back to the Celtic Warrior workouts.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheamus was working out with Obafemi. And he asked him, he said, what's your cheat meal? And Obafemi said, burgers and alcohol. He said, oh, what kind of alcohol do you drink? He said, whiskey. Sheamus said, what's your favorite whiskey? You know what Obafemi said?
Cody Rose whiskey?
Fireball.
Fucking ridiculous.
Shows
Sheamus said, that's not whiskey.
That is not whiskey. That is liqueur.
Sheamus said, I got to get you some whiskey, man. He said, that's not whiskey. So, but was that him really saying that was his favorite whiskey, or was he promoting?
I don't know.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing, bro.
But it's starting to get way too much. I mean, as soon as I think they can't take it any further, they figure out a way, right? They had the fucking Slim Jims on the announce desk. They got the Prime. Now they got the Fireball ladder.
Yeah.
I mean, the ring is already plastered. The turnbuckles got 7-Eleven and other sponsors on them.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Like I'm trying to tell you, they're going to start wearing these advertisements like a WNBA jersey, like a fucking NASCAR.
It's on the way.
Bruh.
I know, man. You look so disgusted, bro.
Fucking ridiculous.
And listen, I understand like marketing and product
You gotta get
placement.
your money, I know, but it's just like, bro, don't be OD with it. Yeah.
Like, we're a small YouTube channel. At some point, as we grow, we'll get sponsorships as well. But for us, it might be like shave kits and fucking skincare or some shit. Ain't gonna be slim. It ain't gonna be none of the shit you see in this trash can. Real American Beers, Slim Jims, Prime, Fatal Fury, Morgan & Morgan, Fireball, 7-Eleven, Snickers, Skittles. Like, but at the same time, when the bell rings, I don't notice any of that shit. It was just that. Yeah, it was just that the Fireball ladder was just hitting me in the face.
Yeah, exactly. It was very, very blatant and direct.
And that ladder was in the women's match too, wasn't it? Or was it just the men's match?
No, I think it was just the men's.
Just the men's match? All right.
I think it was just the men's, yeah. Because even they made it their business to say, hey, because the Creed brothers was talking to Chad Gable. He was like, hey, I talked to Grande Americana. He tells me to tell you guys to make sure you put the fireball ladder somewhere where he can get to it.
Fucking ridiculous.
It was a whole segment, bro.
Yeah, here we go. El Grande Americano introduced the fireball branded ladder as a weapon during the match. That shit's so trash, though.
Yeah, that's whack.
So trash. So trash.
Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry.
I'm not going to harp on this one. We can move on to a really good episode of Monday Night Raw. But that was the Money in the Bank recap. Good show. 8 out of 10, you say? Yeah. I concur.
Right now, you're checking out VSOP.
Hip hop and wrestling.